Well, I know what you must be thinking. I'm back here in my Fiesta Movement 2014 Fiesta ST, but you'd be wrong, and it's the same thing that most people think. I have my old Fiesta Movement car back. They see a performance blue with gray Recaro seat Fiesta ST in the parking lot, and they assume I must have my old car back. But they're wrong. I'm sitting in my very own 2015 Fiesta ST, the one that I purchased myself at the end of the Fiesta Movement. I got about 2,000 miles on the car now. I've owned it for just shy of 2 months. So far, I'm absolutely loving the car. But one of the first things that everyone wants to know is, what's different between this car and the car I had for the Fiesta Movement? Well, they're both performance blue, so that's no change. Both have the gray Recaro seats, no change there. What I have noticed, in fact, most of these things are actually differences between the 2014 Fiesta Movement car and the production car, are the same as they are on my 2015. There's a little bit more body protection film, like that clear film they put on for abrasion. There's more of that on the body on this car than there was on my Fiesta Movement car. The sound composer, there's a piece of foam inside there that kind of helps muffle some of the vibration you get from that plastic tube. That's been changed, and I actually, of course, removed it to make the interior sound louder. But it actually made no difference at all, which the Fiesta Movement, you removed the foam from that car. It made it a tremendous amount of noise, but also had some very weird kind of harmonics that came out of the sound composer. So we ended up putting it back in. But one of the things that I've noticed the most out of this car is how similar it is. There's been a lot of reports that the 2015 Fiesta ST has been Americanized, which is code for kind of dumbed down, watered down, toned down, not as good as the 2014. From what I can tell, from normal daily driving, some spirited driving on the street, I can't see any difference. Everything seems to be the same. Suspension feels the same. Bushings all feel the same. Engine feels just the same. The only thing I noticed is that it does seem very quiet. However, I think a lot of that has to do with I came out of my 2011 car after probably like 8 months of driving that with a Borla Ford Racing exhaust on it, and I get into a car with a factory exhaust system, and you forget how loud an aftermarket one is after you get used to it. So, but otherwise, I find the cars to be very similar, which is great because I loved my Fiesta Movement car, and I love this one as well. I'm very happy. There's no remorse saying, oh, I should have got a 14 instead of the 15. No, none of that. I find both cars to be equally as outstanding, and I absolutely love it. One of the best things about this car is, compared to the Fiesta Movement one, is I get to modify it. I get to do what I want to the car. I don't have to give it back in 6 months. I can do anything I want to do to the car. I can do it. So what have I done to it? Well, the first thing I did, I replaced the wheels and tires with my Access 17-inch wheels and 215/40/17 Yokohama S Drive tires off my 2011 Fiesta. I think the white wheels on the performance blue body look stunning. The only bad part is they require cleaning at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, to keep them actually white instead of dark. So if you don't like cleaning wheels every day, I would get the Rado gray wheels, paint them black, get anything other than white. If you have white wheels, you are a glutton for punishment. But I still love them, so screw it. I'm going to be washing them every day anyway. Who cares? So yeah, I got the wheels and tires changed right away. Did it the first night I had the car. I also added a Mountune drop-in air filter, which I also did on the first night. Really no performance gain from that. You get a tiny bit more intake noise and bypass valve noise from the turbo because the filter isn't nearly as thick. So a little bit of a gain in sound, very little in performance. I've also I've added a velocity stack to the side of the lower airbox to help kind of bring in some air. Unfortunately, it's from the engine compartment, but it's on the side closest to the headlight, furthest from the engine. So at low speed, I get a little bit of air to pull in from right away until I get up to speed where I can pull from the bumper. I've also wrapped the engine cover and part of the airbox with 3M DiNoc carbon fiber vinyl. And then I've covered the induction tubes and part of the airbox with silver and gold heat reflective tape to try to keep some of the heat soak from going on. I've also started sealing off the lower intercooler on the sides of the intercooler to help force as much air through it as I can. And one of the biggest modifications is adding the Cobb Accessport V3 from Mountune. Randy at Mountune did a special tune just for me, and I'm very happy with it. Performance is outstanding. Mile per gallon increase was good, and I love being able to monitor all these different parameters of see how the car performs. So very happy with that. The next question is, well, what am I going to do next? Well, I'm not 100% sure yet. I got a lot of different ideas playing around with. I'm not totally happy with how the car sits. It looks a little too high for me, but it's not too high, so I got to justify whether or not I want to go that route. The Mountune induction air intake pipe between the airbox and in fact the kind of the rest of the induction tube is probably what's going to be next. Maybe a Cobb motor mount. But it's going to be a slow process. There's a lot of things I want to do to the car, but I kind of want to really weigh the advantages, disadvantages, impact on performance, impact on drivability, and kind of see where I go. But for the most part, with close to 2,000 miles on this car, I absolutely love it. For the longest time, I've been searching for a car to replace what I had with my ZX3, which was a very, very modified, very fun to drive, very kind of aggressive front-wheel drive compact, and I haven't really found that exact car yet. And now I did. I think this is it. I think this car is exactly what I've always wanted, and I'm very happy to have finally purchased one, and I get to play around with it and do things. So keep your eye out. There'll be a lot more videos kind of filtering in over time as we begin to do stuff. Winter's coming up, so winter tires, mud flaps are coming on next, and not much will really happen to the car until then. But check out BRGT350 on Instagram and the BRGT350 Flickr account, because I'm posting a lot of pictures, especially on the Flickr account, because I don't want to flood the Instagram account full of car pictures and detailed pictures of what I'm doing with the car. But check both of those sites out. You'll find a lot of information on exactly what I'm up to. So anyway, 2,000 miles just about done, and many, many, many more to go. But my 2015 ST is fantastic, and I'm very happy with it. So very happy for the car. So that's it. We'll catch you next time.